Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Aquil Arundel here, and we are on the chopping block where we discuss taboo issues within the pan movement. Today, our guest is members of the pan moving forward um, organization, growing stronger together. We have Mr. Maurice Alexander, and we have Mr. Fuad Abubakar. Um, Today would be very interactive. We would be, we are on YouTube as well, Facebook and YouTube. And the number to call in would be 727-8203. The topic today is the legal postponement of Trinbago's election. We are here to enlighten um, people or the members of the movement and the public as to what are the issues surrounding this postponement, and is it legitimate enough? We have Mr. Alexander here, who are the PRO of the organization, PAN Moving Forward, and we have Mr. Fuad Abubakar, who are the legal aid person of our organization, and he's fitting for this conversation today because of the legality of the postponement of the election. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening
Good evening.
to all
So,
the viewers. Good evening to you, Aquil. Good evening, Maurice.
Good evening. Good evening, brothers.
so I'll give way to Mr. Maurice, the PRO of the organization, just to give a brief um, introduction about himself and let people have a little background of him.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Arundel, President of the Pan Moving Forward organization. Um, well, as mentioned, my name is Maurice Alexander, the PRO of the organization. And well, I am here again to at you at another live. This is the second live I'm doing. Um, I am a teacher by profession. I didn't take the opportunity at the last live to do so since I felt it was necessary specifically to deal with what we had called the Live for. I am a teacher by profession, a community activist and youth advocate for the past 20 years within my community out of Siparia and Faizabad. So being involved in this organization at this point in time, given the scenarios that we are faced with, we are positioned to really, as Akwil said, to share with you this evening the issues that are before us and how we're going to treat with these issues, and enlightening you about your business. Those of you who are within the PAN fraternity and even outside of the PAN fraternity, the nation needs to know what is happening at this time, and therefore I take great privilege of being a part of this group, and would really want to contribute towards its development.
And Mr. Alexander, you also have some experience in the political realm as a councillor. Give us a little insights as that as well now.
Well, I was trying to not mention.
So you're a politician as well.
Well, yes, I am a former politician at the local level. Through the it was at the Siparia Regional Corporation. Served there at 6 years. And a very interesting time. Again, just an extension of who I am and my passion for community work and youth work, and therefore it was I enjoyed it while it lasted, and Yeah. So I bring some experience where that is concerned to bear as well within the
Right, and
organization.
that is important for the organization to
Definitely.
know why you're here and think.
That's
You
right.
you're representing what steel band?
Superior, well, not Petrotrin anymore, Superior Steel Institute,
Right.
Deltones.
Deltones,
That's right.
Deltones, big up inside. We have Mr. Fuad Abubakar, no stranger to the camera, no stranger to the chopping block, right? And Pan moving forward. He have been um, for the past 6, 7 years someone close to me because we share basically the same values in terms of development of our people, right? Because we have that commonality, we stick together in terms of moving forward the people that we think that is within our community and within that need that support. And I admire Mr. Abubakar as someone as young as himself would quite often put himself on the line. A lot of negative things may be said at some point in time, but if you ain't doing nothing, nobody will have nothing to say about you, right?
Facts.
And when you're doing things, somebody, no matter how good it is, somebody has something to
That's
say
right.
about it,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
Mr. Abubakar, introduce yourself. Tell us about your qualifications, why you're here, why it is important for you to be a part of this discussion here today.
Sure, please. I will Fuad for you, right? You can call me Fuad. And I think the distinction is sometimes necessary, although I am quite a bit younger than my father. And that might be visually evident as well. But, it's always a pleasure to be on the chopping block. I've been here before, and I ain't get chopped, but I good. But but we bleed for this aquil, and that's why probably the phrase chopping block is one that is of interest to me. We bleed for this, and our efforts to make change, positive change, our effort to carry wherever we are, whatever organization we're involved in, forward is evident, and I hope people could use their discernment and open their eyes and see the efforts that people make. Not just myself, there are other positive people around, and this is basically what we are about. We have been working assiduously. I remember, 3 years back, the last election for Trinbago, we had a lot of work to do um, when people was playing the as,
Playing Diaz.
playing the as. And, there was a strong sentiment among the members of Trinbago that we wanted to move beyond what existed for some time. And it took effort, it took effort. People worked, organized. Um, we had so many concerts. I remember Ken Professor, giving us his time and his effort. God bless him and give him that peaceful rest and what he deserves for his kindness and his love, right? And so many others, yourself, Akil, myself, um, working to change, to move from where we were at that point in time, and to clean up the thing and make it better, and to usher in a new dispensation. That time has come again. You know, we've had 3 years, and our constitution clearly states that now is the time that we have the power and the right to choose where we want to go, who we want to lead us, and how we're going forward. And that right, Aquil, is essential and sacrosanct to all of us as pan men and pan women. And that's what we're here to discuss, because we're ready to move forward again.
That's right.
You know, no disrespect to anybody there, no disrespect to whatever was done, but we're ready to move forward again. You know, and that is the stage we are. We ask the people who are listening, who are viewing, to give us that ear. A lot of people have already, a lot of pan people have already given us their time to understand what we are talking about, and they are on board with us. And we want more people. We want everyone. We want this current executive to understand where we want to go. And you know, if you all can't take us there, then join us and follow us to where we
Let's
go
work
in.
together. That's right.
You know, so that is why we're here on the chopping block again. Continuing the work is a continuous struggle, and it is my pleasure, Aquil, to work with you. My pleasure as well to work with Maurice again and all the others who are working assiduously to move PAN forward.
That's
Right.
right.
So, gentlemen, before we go further, I just have to recognize Mr. Luap here, the engineer for the chopping block. He's here today as well. If you guys are impressed by the way that the settings look and the sound of and quality of the production, that is all Luap here. And thanks for being here, Luap. You have been doing a tremendous job for the organization, the chopping block, and pan moving forward, because Mr. Pierre would also been the person who was instrument in the lighting up of the Brazil Spaniard by
Right.
the solar
Yes.
lights, right? He would have researched what lights to use, so on and so on, and he also installed the lights as well. So he's very much a part of what we do in here and the way forward.
That's right.
Guys, so notice have been sent about 2 weeks ago, could be a little more or less average, that we would not have um, we would not have elections this year because of the COVID. Reasons being that it's only five can gather. That's sounding reasonable. Why is it a fuss among pan people, seeing that there's a reasonable explanation that is only five can gather, and usually at our conventions we would have about 400 people gathering. Mr. Morris?
Well, Aquil, we did, as you are aware, at the last live, we did take the opportunity to really explain from the genesis, apart from just the information shared in the letter, that the executive would like to postpone, not would like to, but they actually did. All right,
They're actually
postpone.
trying to.
Well, they're trying to, but according to them, they believe they did by sending the memo indicating that that's the decision that they have taken. We have started to examine, and I think it's important for the membership of Trinbago to begin calling out and examining what right or permission or authority does the executive has to do such. And we were able to declare and indicate that that is not an authority that they have. Constitutionally or otherwise, the authority is given by the membership. And what we are aware of at this point in time, and members of the various bands throughout the length and breadth of this country would indicate that they have not been convened constitutionally to be able to give that authority to the executive to us to postpone the elections. So from the start, it is an illegal action. It is illegal, and therefore the question here going forward is, what do we do? What do we do? We have taken the position that we are enlightening, informing, and really seeking to have the membership call forward for this executive to rescind that decision.
Well, Maurice, stick up in. I would like to challenge that notion based on the argument that the current executive has, and Fuad, you can jump in as well. That based on the constitution of Trinbago, that the central executive would exercise the powers of the convention when the convention is not convened. So therefore, they may have the power. Fuad?
I want to begin by going into the more simplistic argument to enlighten the individuals who are watching right now, pan men and women. We are extremely reasonable people, all of us. We want the well-being and the interest of the fraternity to be paramount. Nobody is saying that we want individuals to come out and go into an unsafe environment for convention and for election. What we are saying is that this is an essential element in our constitution. It is a very important right that is enshrined so that us, the people who are served by the executive, have oversight, have the power to mandate the direction in which our organization goes. And that right is so important that the executive that has to put this convention and election in place should not play with it and arbitrarily just throw out that it can be done, postponement indefinitely until when, you know. You know, I read through that letter that was distributed to bands, and first of all, it has factual issues that are incorrect. Yes, we are in a period where there is this COVID pandemic, but to state that only 5 individuals can meet in one place is not totally true. If that were the case, when you go out on the street and there are more than 5 people, there would be problems. You would be doing something that is illegal. What the Ministry of Health has stipulated is that in certain proximities, to ensure that the virus is not easily spread, you should only gather to a certain extent. If you have a venue or a facility that is large enough to safely carry out a meeting, and all of the stipulations, the sanitization, the distancing, I've seen other meetings stating no food will be allowed, the masking of participants. If those things are able to take place, then convention, meetings, which are essential, can take place. So I'm saying that the executive needs to be very careful in the way that they speak on the rules, right? They need to try not to mislead. It may be the case that they are intentionally stating things in a manner in which those who follow the movement will believe it cannot be done. I would like to say that when you go to a supermarket, a store now, right? More than 5 people enter those premises. It depends on the size of the premises and the distance that can be kept when those people go into that building. Otherwise, all of those places would be closed, and all of that action would not be allowed. So there are some real issues in the way that our executive has approached this situation.
Right.
There's something we commonly say: where there's a will, there's a way. Aquil and Maurice.
Yes, definitely.
And it appears that there is no will.
That's right. To find a way.
To find a way for our convention and our meetings. Let's start there. Because without meetings, Aquil, how are we going to have oversight? How are we going to have communication, understanding what is done? How are we going to ask questions? How are we going to see reports? Okay, why have reports not still been able to be produced, regardless of your supposed inability to meet?
Right.
There are so many issues loaded into this
Yeah.
announcement that we just cannot.
Right. So we have one of the arguments, and that argument would be that we can't meet because only 5 can gather. And you challenging that argument by saying that the examples of supermarkets, these big stores, even churches, and even examples of
Meetings and conventions.
conventions and
Yeah.
elections have been held. One of the argument that that you saying that the argument wouldn't be able to stand up. Would that argument would, based on your law background, would that argument be able to stand up in a court of law?
So we have sought legal assistance on the matter, and it is very, very highly in our favor, the membership of Trinbago, that in our favor, that it would be found that elections, for sure, and meetings and conventions can take place and should take place. There is no stipulation as to how these meetings take place. There are other options for meetings to take place as well. So we have seen very recently that our president has publicly stated now, because she has gotten the epiphany from somewhere, somebody probably suggested.
Stick up in there. Callers, viewers, you can call 727-8203. It's an interactive program, so bring in your questions as soon as you like. Go ahead.
So suggestions would have come up about Zoom meetings, about electronic technology being used for us to have an interface and for us to have a meeting. And then thereafter, the simple process of an election, which elections have been taking place in Trinidad and Tobago continuously throughout COVID period, this COVID pandemic, could have safely been done, and the duty that our executive has to us would have been discharged. So very recently we saw in the newspaper our president go on and say that pan men and pan women, we old, and we don't know nothing about Zoom.
All right, so stick up in there. I would like to hear Maurice Alexander in terms of the statement that pan men and pan women.
Maurice, you don't know nothing about Zoom.
They're old and we can't
can't learn nothing.
Yeah,
you can't teach our old dog new tricks.
As persons who invent one of the greatest instruments in the 20th century, 21st century, right? And played it and mastered it, to be labeled now as can't
learn, can't innovate.
Can't click on a link.
Even if you don't know, you can't learn.
All right, we have a caller.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I listened to the program, I've been listening to the program, and all you're addressing the issue of more than 5 people.
Yes.
I am a member, in fact, I'm a member of the Central Executive, but I don't share, I'm opposed to what is being done.
Right.
To deny the membership of Trinbago their legal right to choose who they want to lead the organization. That's a denial of your constitutional right. But you know something? The Ministry of Health has guidelines to put out to the public how to conduct large gatherings.
Yeah.
There is a directive from the Ministry of Health. And furthermore, schools will be open on Monday. Thousands of school children will be going out on Monday. And there are guidelines by the Ministry of Health how that should go ahead. So what is Trinbago's elections? Just between a mere 300 to 400 people.
Caller, would you like to identify yourself by name?
My name is Gerald Mendez. I'm the elected treasurer of Trinbago.
Good day, Mr. Mendez. Good day, and thanks sir, for being here. Well, based on the reports today on the papers by our president, she said that the minister approved of her decision in terms of putting off the election. Give me your thoughts on that.
My thoughts on that is this. I think if what is carried in the paper is in fact the truth, then the minister has to be very careful. Because how could he put off Trinbago's advisor to put off Trinbago's elections? But in the same But his Ministry of Health has guidelines to the public how to conduct large gatherings. And how could he be a part of opening schools on Monday with thousands of children? And the minister must also be wary that Trinbago was established by Act 5 of 1986, which is an act of parliament. And we have a constitution, and he must not encourage people to break the constitution of Trinbago. So if what is carried in the papers today is factual, then the minister has to be very careful.
Yeah.
Well, if I
Stand
may,
the line, Mr. Mendes.
stand the line, Mr. Mendes, and thank you for joining us, Mr. Mendes. But Akwil and
Thank you very much.
yes, sir. But let me put on my political hat here now and say without favor of contradiction and fair. I am saying here, I am in total agreement with Mr. Mendes, and I can probably say categorically that the Minister of Health did not instruct or indicate that Trinbago shouldn't have their elections as a result of that. And you know why I can tell you that? The minister may have, or the ministry officials may have agreed probably with the decision taken, the illegal decision that is taken by the executive to postpone the elections and use the reasoning or the excuse that COVID and all these different things and their inability to not be able to structure it for it to come off. So I will debunk and I will stand here in the defense. The minister didn't send me to do this, but I am standing in the defense of the minister that he did not do that. All right. So clearly, in investigating that article, that is complete foolishness. Complete foolishness. That is a decision taken by the executive, and we will treat with that as we program go.
Mr. Mendes, as you on the line, we would be aware that you would have been suspended from the executive, and I guess based on my information, on the same day that that decision was made, that we would not have election, you were kicked out of that meeting, as far as I understand. Could you clarify that to the members, and could you also clarify the legality of you being kicked out of meetings, number one, and you being suspended by the central executive, Mr. Mendes?
You know, it's so you know, let me elaborate on that a little bit. And that's so true. At the last central executive meeting, which was held by Zoom. Strange enough, you're going to have a central executive by Zoom, but you don't want to meet the members by Zoom. And you're claiming you're insulting the members by saying that they don't know how to use Zoom.
Mr. Mendes, is there any persons over 60 on the central executive?
I am over 60, and Mr. Simpson is over 60. I'm not aware that I have anybody else over 60.
Right.
Beverly.
Ms. Ramzimo would be over 60 as well.
Well, and you guys learned to use Zoom. How hard it was for you? I know that.
It's very simple. It's like ABC, and I think that's an insult.
That's right.
That comment today in the Express, that, you know, if it's true again, because, you know, reporting is a strange thing. If it is true, I think that's an insult to the intelligent members of the PAN fraternity, to assume that they don't know how to use Zoom. To me, that's an insult. So, but let me address the substantive issue. The kicking out of the meeting. So, you know, it's what you call stupid season. It's election season, so people, freedom of choice and freedom of association, we're free to do as we see. So we were meeting people because I know it's common knowledge now that I am against a lot of the illegal things that have been done by the president and a gang of 7. So we've been meeting things. So somebody made some allegations against us, and they wrote to the people who we met, tried to verify the information that we gave them. So they wrote to the chairman of the Eastern Region, and the Eastern Region chairman forwarded a letter to the president saying that I and Dane Gulston, among other people, need to be disciplined. So a kangaroo court was apparently got together, and they decide in an executive meeting that we brought Trinbago Central Executive and Trinbago into disrepute, and we're going to be suspended with immediate effect. But you know, this is another one of the many, many infractions and disregards for the Constitution of Trinbago by the Central Executive or by the President.
Why
Because
you
she
say, Mr.
moved,
Mendes?
because she has been doing it from day one, abusing the and disregard and have disregard for the Constitution of Trinbago.
Mr. Mendes.
If I started going to,
Mr.
and,
Mendes.
yeah,
Mr.
sorry.
Mendes.
Mm.
Tell us how she suspending you is an abuse of the Constitution.
Because the Constitution under discipline clearly states and enunciates a procedure for disciplining an officer. It says that suspension is a penalty on finding somebody guilty or convicting somebody of an offense. The Central Executive does not have the power before finding somebody guilty of a breach or misdemeanor, misfeasance, whatever, of suspending anybody. So I received a letter from the Secretary to that effect, and I answered it today. And I told them that I will not be facing any kangaroo court, but I will be challenging the procedure used to suspend me with immediate effect from the Central Executive. And I will pursue that as soon as I get in detail what are the offenses that they claim now, the allegations claim. And you know, funny, in the interest of consistency, I say they have some allegations made against their selected treasurer. It was in Wednesday talks yesterday. The allegations made against the selected treasurer. You know, I don't want to repeat them, but if you're going to suspend me based on allegations, then she should be suspended based on allegations.
But then that wouldn't be entirely true, Mr. Mendes, because it's lack of process again. Because if somebody I'm saying that if somebody have a allegation against the sitting treasurer at this point in time, they should write as they did with you guys, and it be investigated. However, I think that the president, although that we would like her to remain consistent in terms of if somebody right and before and while the investigation go on, that suspension happens because that is something that she doing now. But whether she doing it now or not, it is wrong, and she should cease from doing it, right? She should correct.
It is wrong.
She should correct herself, and the executive. Let me not say the president because I believe it's the executive that made the decision. They should correct themselves and cease from doing such. As you say, a suspension is a punishment, and that is only when someone is found guilty of something, right? So,
exactly.
But Mr. Chair,
yeah.
If I may just switch back gears, because I would want Mr. Mendes, because you said something earlier, so if you can clear up for us here, so that we could get back to the substantive conversation that we started on, the topic. You indicated that a Zoom meeting was convened, a Zoom executive meeting was convened that dealt with two things. One, the suspending of members, yourself included. Likewise, and at that same meeting, the decision was taken with regards to postponement.
Well, yes.
Well, right.
Yes.
Now,
let me tell you how it was.
Well, just wait. What I want to get clear on is how many members were in attendance of that meeting? That's the executive meeting, right? How many members from the top of your head?
Well, it seems to me that the entire executive was 9 members, because the elected vice president, Mr. Carlin Yehood, was absent from that meeting.
Right.
So there were 9 other members.
9 members, including yourself?
Yeah, right. Including myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then when they had moved to deal with your matter and others, I think they had asked 1 or 2 of you all to leave eventually thereafter.
Yeah, I and Mr. Dingleston immediately.
So that took it down to 7?
To 7, yeah.
Right, so
7 elected members, because there's one co-opted person that shouldn't have the right to
There is one co-opted person,
so
yes. So there's 7 elected. 6 elected members and 1 co-opted person,
right.
yeah.
So we are saying about executive of total how many?
10.
10.
They had a
10.
forum with the 6.
Yeah, they had a quorum with the 6. But what I'm saying is that here it is 6 members took that decision, right? 6 members took that, and I'm
Six
saying,
members took that decision.
right,
Yeah.
6 members took that decision, and a decision as such an important decision, such a critical decision, and I'm saying all of this and painting the picture for our viewers and our listeners here to understand the high-handedness and the kind of rogue executive that we have. All right, so 6 decided to make such a decision. So I just wanted that clarity so that our listeners can
And let
understand.
me add to that, Mr. Mendes. Let me add to that, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mendes, before you
Yeah.
go on. The reason why we would have selected 10 people to an executive is because we would have expected it would have had persons with different and opposing views. And when we have
Exactly.
different and opposing views, it is good to lay all the views on the table. So we would then debate the views. I found that it was very convenient that they would have kicked you guys out of the meeting before the discussion. So at
It was
least,
properly planned.
so at
It was
least
properly
you
well
guys
planned.
would have given your version or your views, and then it would have been debated because you, the 2 persons that have been kicked out, may have been representing the views of the other persons in the movement.
That's right.
And so true.
So go ahead, Mr. Mendes.
But they say it was well orchestrated in the sense that, and you know what's strange? You know, the motion, should I say, if I use the correct term, the motion to suspend with immediate effect, you know, it didn't come from the floor, it came from the president. You listen that the motion to suspend with immediate effect came from the president.
So
You
therefore,
understand?
so therefore the minutes will reflect that it was the president who raised the motion.
Yeah,
Who
it
moved the
should
motion?
reflect that. It should reflect
Seconded
that the
by.
suggestion to suspend with immediate effect came from the president, and therefore we will immediately cut off the meeting. And so whatever substantive and other discussions went on, you know, we weren't privy to that. But you know what's strange about this thing? This is a president who is yet to come clean and why she had to resign from the THA. This is a president who the Trinidad and Tobago Gazette has placed her name in the public domain and threatened with whatever penalties because she has not obeyed the dictates of the Integrity Commission for the years 2015 to 2020. This is the same president who is breaking all the rules of the Constitution because people decided to put their hand up against the illegalities that she is committing as a president of the central executive. But other than, I don't want to take up a whole
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
because
All
we
right,
have-
thanks for sharing, Mr. Mendes. I would like to say, before you leave, the views of the caller is not the view necessarily the views of the show, the chopping block.
That's
But thanks for sharing the views because this is
Appreciate
what we are. This is what we expect from our president. We expect debate. We expect opposing views come to the table, and let's
We expect consultation.
consultation.
We expect meetings. We expect discussions with differing views, and that is going to carry us to a position where
It's
we get
healthy.
the best
Yes.
solution.
Going forward.
So I want to make a point back on the illegal postponement, right?
Yeah, you finished it, Mr. Mendes?
Yeah, thank
All
you very
right,
much,
thank
Mr.
you,
Mendes.
The-
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me this hearing.
727-8203 is the number to call. I'm seeing Miss Phillips saying lies, Mr. Mendes. Miss Phillips, the number is 727-8203. Please call the show
Yes.
and
Feel free
enlighten
to
us,
call in.
That's
please.
right.
Yeah.
Call
We
in.
would like to hear
Your
persons
opinions.
who supporting Miss Ramsey Morrow and Mr. Roll Knights called into the program,
Yes.
and we are accommodating. We are not the type who closed to our own opinions. We would like you to give you the chance to change our minds in terms of the situation that is here with us. Mr. Fuad had said in the beginning, we are not unreasonable people.
Yeah.
You know, we want you to give us a reason to say, well, yes, we agree with the president, we agree with our decision, and so on. But
Yeah.
as it is now, we are not there, so we'd like you guys to call in 727-8203. Call in and clear up anything. Fuad.
Like I said to the president directly, I said, if we felt as though your reason that you put forward to the membership had credit and was sound, then we would accept it, because obviously the well-being of our membership is extremely essential. And then I went on to explain so many ways in which the convention, meetings, and the election could take place. And now we see new talk coming up from the same executive, and in particular our president, stating, and I want to quote her based on this article, stating that, of course, it could be done on Zoom if our members, the majority, of course, it could be done on Zoom if our members know how to operate Zoom. It is no secret that the majority of our delegates are over 60 years old. So, all of a sudden, she understands now, in this recent article, because she's gone on the press now in the public light to defend
But
what
we have
initially
highlighted-
came out.
That's correct.
So she's saying now that, yeah, it could be done on Zoom, but you see, Duncy had Pan Man and Pan Woman.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We take offense at
we
that.
take serious offense to that.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that even the most elderly delegate for a band can't have his daughter or someone assist them on one evening or morning
But
for them to come online
Yeah.
and listen to a meeting, make contributions, and then the following day go to a place and place whatever ballots to select who they think is essential to move our movement forward.
So what you suggesting? You suggesting a hybrid. You know, you have your convention where you have the AGM online with Zoom, and it would be safe, right?
Of
and
course.
we listen to the reports, because apparently they're adamant that the reports must read and so on, which is good.
Yes, we have no problem
Right?
with that. It should be given to us
Beforehand.
beforehand.
So we would also know.
Let
So
us
if-
peruse it before.
Yeah, so we would know, and we would be able to give questions
our
on that day.
questions and our submissions
Right,
beforehand, so
But-
we can
and-
move
and-
as a proper organization.
Yeah.
This is 2021.
No, but
If these people don't want to lead an organization in 2021, just say that.
that's correct.
And they could go back in time and they could run Trinbago 20 years in the past. They could set up somewhere in the bush with some whatever and pretend as though they're running a backward organization.
But let me stick in one here, because I gentlemen, and for those who are listening, I want us to put the thing into context here. And what you read with regards to Ms. Ramsey Moore indicating that it could happen. Now you're saying it could happen
Yeah.
by Zoom, because but given our delegates being 60 and over, probably it is impossible once they could use Zoom. Now hear what I'm saying. Hear how again it's insulting the intelligence of a movement, as I said in my life as well. The $1 billion dollars industry movement with a lot of expertise and intelligent young people, and even seniors with experience. You're putting your foot, I don't think she's standing right now. Her 2 feet is in her mouth at this time. Here it is, you saying it can't, it could happen. But here the question, have you done an assessment? Do you have stats to say, well, a certain percentage of our delegates is over 60 and they wouldn't be able to use the Zoom, so that's why they can't have it. They have indicated, the membership that is have indicated that we wouldn't be able to do the Zoom because the age of our members. How did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
How did you decide that, listen, it could be done, but by Zoom, but here what?
People over
60. But how did the executive reach to that conclusion? So it comes back again to the same approach with even the decision taken at that meeting with regards to postponement, which is you decide that and then come to tell the membership, this is what we have decided. But I want to tie that into 10 in the letter that they had sent. And you have to understand the devil is in the details with regards to how this executive is trying to manipulate. And what we are, the business that we are on here and will continue to be on, is enlightening and informing you, the people of this movement, to understand your business, and so that you would know the information to make the right decision and call for the right answers. Now, in 10, they have indicated that whereas in areas of the Constitution that are silent, the executive can take those decisions, or take decisions, or make laws where there's no bylaws, as the case may be. Clearly, the Constitution may have said that. Nobody interpreted or assumed that COVID would have come on the scene, so COVID may have been one of the decisions or reasons why they would have taken certain decisions. But for a decision such as election, a decision to postpone an election that is constituted, that is enshrined in the Constitution, that must take place no later than the 31st of October, 3 years you have to stay in office, you cannot say that you will just use that because use COVID, because it is not in the Constitution and it is silent, and you make that decision. For a sensitive decision thing as that, you needed to get the permission and the authority of the memberships first, before you even make that decision. So you're understanding what they're doing. They're using this whole COVID thing as we breaking it down to our members and exposing every letter, every word that they're using, and every terminology that they're manipulating with words, the use of language. They're coming back to talk this foolishness. Yeah, now it can happen. But people over 60.
But I seen Mr. Roll Knights asking, what is the cost to do a Zoom convention? I don't know if anyone there, you guys could answer.
$3.99.
Because
$3.99.
Yeah, because I have a Zoom plan, and my Zoom plan would have been, it's cheap.
Yeah.
My Zoom plan cheap. It is for 100 people, and then right after that it's 100 people for a whole month. I don't think it's more than $20 US or something like that. So I know Mr. Roll Knights probably don't know, but
Mr. Arundel, go with me. We have been in COVID for a year plus.
And you're right, because the research of what it costs and so on should be given to the members via email and so on, and say, well, listen, this is what it costs. We don't think that we could afford, so what? Give some suggestions.
But for the public knowledge, it is extremely cheap.
Right.
And it is something that they have been using. The executive, which has many members over 60, have been using it to have their meetings.
Right.
Right? So what they are saying is that they are capable, but you, the membership, who has elected them, is not competent like them.
Yeah.
COVID get ride like a donkey by this executive.
I want to even to strengthen your argument forward.
Yeah.
Pan moving forward meet on Zoom regularly.
Yeah.
Who we meet?
Yeah.
Who? You tell me.
Pan men and pan women.
Is there people over the age of 60?
Indeed.
Of course.
Delegates over the age of 60.
And Mr. Roll Knights, you may not know, and other people may not know, that yes, it was a little tricky for them when I sent the link and they had to click on
At
it.
first.
They would call and they would ask, well, Mr. Arundel, I'm not getting through. So. But by the second time and the third time, they were quite competent on their own doing a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they would have, and I would have seen as well, some of the persons who having problem, they would call the son, or they would call and that is because we are in the comfort of our home and our loved ones are around us. We would get the assistance.
Yeah.
You know, you would get the assistance, Mr. Roll Knights. You would get the assistance. I know that some persons may be a little intimidated. My father, who are not technologically savvy.
Yeah.
He did Zoom meetings already. I set up the Zoom for him and I put him in front of the computer and say, well, so this is what you need to do there, and he did it, and it didn't take him. You understand? So we saying that yes, Miss Ramsey Moore, yes, the executive of six that made the decision on the
Five of whom five
no
I'm sure.
no 7 and
Yes.
6 of whom
Yeah.
who could have taken.
But five out of that six I'm sure over 50, and one was a young.
Well,
Was the youth the education
Well,
officer,
well,
maybe the only youngest
well,
person there.
don't say that you're sure because we'll be moving just like them because we didn't do these stats, right?
No, I'm
right?
saying-
I am sure
I'm
because
sure.
the
I
type,
did the stats
the
already.
types of statements that Ms. Ramsey Moore
Yes.
making.
it sounded like it didn't have
Yeah.
No, but before you move on
any
to
younger
Chair,
person there. Yes.
to Fuad's point there, because we began, if you notice, we began shredding to pieces. Number one, the letters that were sent, we have identified and put that forward out there to the public, and to our movement is illegal. This statement, and if you notice something, this article came out as a response to our unfolding and unmasking their foolishness.
Yeah.
Now, but here how we continue to shred this one to pieces now. So we spoke to the foolishness of it could happen now, but
Yeah.
because Zoom and
Yeah.
people over 60. The second movie in the foolishness is that you're saying to us that the minister gave you the green light and approving your decision, and we debunking that because the minister would have had to also disapprove other organizations who held
Of
their
course.
elections.
Yeah.
Of course.
3, you are indicating that you went to Queen's Park, or you made an application to Queen's Park, and Queen's Park is unavailable. We have Queen's Park Oval, we have Manningham John, we have Branara Stadium. What you're looking for, what we want again? We have Sapa, Napa, you name it.
Large
No,
We have-
no.
And I'm saying, in other words, there are so many. Why I'm saying that, I brought that up to show that she's saying, yes, Queen's Park, because somebody made the suggestion
Right.
that Queen's Park really is a good idea. It could hold 18,000 people. But we went and find out, and
It's 10,000.
Well, yeah, but we went and found out, and it's not available. So that's why we can't have it. No. We're saying it have a lot of other alternative
Right,
places.
right.
So what's your excuse? So in shredding this article to pieces so far, all the points can be debunked, and we
Right.
are seeing there it comes back down to a high-handed dictatorial and illegal decision taken by this executive.
So I'm glad that you point the conversation to in that direction, because the suggestion of Queen's Park Savannah would have, all of these things would have been fleshed out if we had a chance to debate it, or if we was
We had a chance
consulted.
to
Now,
meet and talk, yeah.
now you came to the program 2-3 days ago, and you would have spoke specifically of South Central
That's right.
sending out its members saying that South Central agreed to the decision of them, which is ludicrous.
Of course.
Right? Ludicrous. And I know Mr. Roll Knight's in charge of South Central, and he's on now. So I'd like him to call 727-8203. We'd be very easy
Yeah.
on you as we go along.
We
don't-
welcome your.
we
your
don't want to be confrontational. We just
your
want
contribution.
some
Yes.
clarification, right? So, as far as I understand, I am a member of South Central. Maurice
Yes, of
Alexander,
course.
and then there are
A whole lot.
a whole lot of people who called and told me, Aquil, I was not invited to any meetings of the South Central. No, it had meetings. So, as far as I'm seeing, the president and Mr. Roll Knights would have selected people to come to a meeting. The president would have then sensitized the people that they selected, because they would have think that these people are the people who would be
Support them.
in support or not
Would
smart
not
enough
question,
or,
misinform them.
or don't know the constitution.
Yes.
So we could hoodwink these people and tell them what you want. So you convince these people, or you sensitize them that this is the way to go. And I also take umbrage of the reports given to me that the president would come to South Central in my absence as well, and say ill things about me, right? The reports, I'm saying the reports,
Yeah.
based on the reports I get.
You got, yes.
And Mr. Roll Knights and the rest of South Central people didn't put a stop to that, because you guys supposed to be representing me.
So that's right.
You guys supposed to be representing Aquila, Arundel, and San City, and anybody coming to say anything negative, say what you have to say, but don't come and campaign against Aquila Rendell by saying negative things if the reports are true. But I'm getting back to the point. I digress. But I get back to the point where you came to the South with a selected number of bands. You sensitize them based on what you want to do. Go back in Port of Spain with your 6 people. Make your decision. Send the information to South, and South now going around with this paper to the people
saying that they support it.
Well, not only saying that to the same people that they sensitize. So what about the huge number of bands in South that was not invited to that meeting?
That's right.
Yeah.
That you're not even showing respect to send the letter for them to sign this thing that you're talking about. This is what we're signing now.
Yes.
So that means that a huge number of bands were disenfranchised.
That's right.
Because we were not part, and still is not part
of that decision.
Of the decision.
Yes.
And
illegal decision.
The process into the decision.
That's right.
And I'm saying that to say, coming back to what you're saying in terms of the Queen's Park Savannah, if it is that our president was inclusive to everybody's views and opinions, and if she's smart as she claims she is, and political as she claims she is, and intelligent as she claims she is, she would not be shying away from opposing views.
Yeah.
She would be able to come to the table with whatever views that she has.
That's right.
And intelligently discuss it and defend it.
That's right.
And put it
And
on
persuade
vote.
the table.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Because you are a politician, you claim that you are this big politician and so on and so on and so on. Although the only person who probably may have lost more elections than Miss Beverly Ramsey Moore is Fuad.
Possibly. I feel if we check it, she might notch me a little bit. So she really win that one too.
You understand? But she continuously claiming to be this political genius, and okay, you are if you say you are, but use your political suaviness and come to the members who would be opposed to the views or have opposing suggestions.
Or even support.
That's because
right.
you don't know.
That's why
So
it's
if she had
all-inclusive.
came to the
Membership.
membership, we would have then say, well, Queen's
Yeah,
Park
that's right.
Savannah could hold 25% capacity.
That's right.
And instead of you now sending a second report as you check Queen's Park Savannah, the first report you said that we can't gather.
You already made the decision.
You made the decision saying that we can't gather.
Yeah. So why didn't you
now
put that in the
you're
letter?
saying, now you're saying that we can gather
Right.
in Queen's Park Savannah.
But you check Queen's Park, but Queen's Park ain't available.
Yeah.
When you have already made a decision
How?
for other reasons, for political reasons,
That's right.
because you think that this is some other type of election where you could call it and you could prorogue
It in your back, yeah.
when you're ready.
That's
Contrary to what is the constitutional
Constitution.
rules that are set out.
That's right.
So she has made a decision beforehand that she doesn't want elections.
That's right.
And she states it quite clearly if you read all that she has put out thus far. She's stating that the elections have been postponed in the past.
Yeah.
She says that Diaz do this before, but we have stated unequivocally as a movement that we fed up playing Diaz. We done with that. And what people got away with in the past is not going to be allowed now moving forward.
But
we have evolved beyond that.
But for what you could speak to the reason of the elections being postponed in Diaz's time, it was a legal reason, so to speak, that caused that opportunity to play itself out. It wasn't as though Diaz decided willingly and went and get bans and say, well,
Right.
okay, we will postpone. There was a legal.
Let me explain to you what happened with Mr.
Great.
Diaz, right? So for the audience who didn't know, right? Miss Ramsey Moore had this group called New Visionaries.
Yeah.
And New Visionaries for somebody who well, probably it was New Vision back in the days, but now we see that there's no vision. So
I think we had a vision.
New Visionaries would have take the organization to court, because when they did the process, the nomination process, there were members who belongs to bands which was not financial.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And they challenged it. So Mr.
whole
Diaz,
process was
so
taking place.
Mr. Diaz executive held the only thing that we know, or in our interpretation, because I have to say that, in our interpretation, the only thing that can change the rules of the Constitution is a convention.
That's right.
So, because it was in the tri-annual year, right? They held the convention
And
because
made
it
the
was
decision.
it was in the right time, which is September
Yes.
to October,
Yeah.
right? They held the convention, and at the convention, the members made the decision
That's right.
to keep the
Present
present
executive.
Postpone until.
until the court
The legal
matter.
part. That's right.
Right.
It was not the executive
That made the decision.
Making the
made
decision.
the decision to leave themselves in office. Now let's take a scenario, right? And to my audience, I would like you guys to imagine this. Imagine COVID came when it came, and the present government held meetings with their supporters, sensitized their supporters about what they plan to do, and then announced to the country that we're not going to have elections because of COVID.
Yeah.
Imagine what would have taken place
Yeah.
to Trinidad and Tobago.
Clearly,
Yeah.
it would have been an imagination, because the PNM wouldn't have done that, Mr. Chairman.
We have
Well,
had,
well, Fuad
we
would
have had-
disagree.
We
eh?
have
had-
disagree, but
we had
have
national
standards.
elections, we had THA elections, which I'm sure Ms. Ramsey Moore went and voted
Well,
in
yes,
that
yes,
election. I am
yes,
sure
yes.
she exercised her constitutional right. I don't know if she campaigned, I don't know who party she support, but I'm sure she did that. And I'm sure Mr. Diaz Singh, as the Minister of Health, when he spoke to the different organizations that have been having AGMs during this COVID period, when they stipulated how these organizations could carry out these elections, these conventions and elections and meetings safely, I'm sure he could not come back now to say that no meeting can take place.
Yes,
I doubt that
that's what I'm saying.
very, very.
Yeah, it's
That contradicts his
All-
every action.
yeah, all the
Obviously,
meetings, right.
And that is what
Right.
organizations that care to
Ah.
actually carry out meetings
on behalf of the
and elections are doing. They are consulting the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health is setting out the conditions and assisting to ensure that those conditions are met, so that all the partners in Trinidad and Tobago, all the members of society, all the organizations with such important responsibilities, such as Trinbago,
Yeah.
can continue to function smoothly. This executive does not want to have elections now.
No, they don't.
For their own political reasons, they want an indefinite postponement to elections. The bans that they have misled, misinformed, manipulated, we are saying to you all that these elections can take place, our meetings can take place, and they should take place. We do not want to have it reach to a stage where it has to go to court, where our organization has to be dragged into a court matter. We don't want it to reach to the extent that we have to get the Ministry of Culture involved, get NCC involved. We don't want it to reach there. But if you are going to hold our rights to ransom so that you could just continue occupying office, we're saying that that is not going to be tolerated.
Before I think we could call out the relevant personnel, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Culture, NCC, indicating to them, highlighting to them, listen, an illegal, disrespectful, disregarding committee, band of thieves has made a decision illegally on behalf of this organization, and therefore
We
we
would
the
use so,
members.
so much colorful language in the letter. Eh?
No. I would. But what I'm saying is
But we
that
could say that.
yeah. But what I'm saying is that this group of persons have
Yeah.
made such a decision, and these organizations of whom are stakeholders, of
Yeah.
whom Trinbago is a part of, ought to know that they need to call them out on it,
Yeah.
because here it is again coming back to the article. You made the point, Akwil, with regards to the president saying, well, it was postponed before in the past. You had to listen to sometimes what people do say. You know what she actually saying there? She knew very well. She brought up, her group brought up the legal thing against them, Diaz. But you know what she's trying to say? Hey, well, they're fighting for hush them out now. Oh, she what they worried about. It was postponed before, so it can postpone again. And that kind of bully, kind of, brazen kind of way. And I'm saying that NCC needs to know these things, and we need to call them out and have them know that this is the kind of illegal actions that are taking place. And this is if we want to be so strong to say this is dealing with them in any way going forward after the 31st of October if they do not call the elections.
Maurice, I am extremely confident that the Minister of Culture, the chairman of NCC, and all the other stakeholders will be speaking to Ms. Ramsey Moore very soon.
That's right.
As we raise the issue publicly,
Yeah.
I have seen that Mr. Robert Hernandez as well had a letter put out in the news, the public, asking those stakeholders as well to pay attention.
That's right.
I have seen countless articles online by Mr. Arundel and other
Yes.
individuals. I have seen people within the movement, people abroad who look on, who are part of the fraternity, but are plying their trade and living abroad, making serious statements saying what is going on.
Yes.
You know, why is our president doing this? Why every 3 years is this issue? Why our executives can't understand that? Let's get it done. It is an important thing to get done.
So Fuad, and Mr. Alexander, Pan moving forward had a countdown, and tomorrow would be the last day of that countdown. The countdown would indicate that tomorrow would be the last day that Pan Trinbago would have to send out notice.
We've had to send out notice.
Supposed to send out notice that the 31st is our date for convention, and nomination day is so, and that is the time period, right?
Yeah.
I want the public and Mr. Austin to rest assured that after the 3rd, action would be taken.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pan moving forward is not about talk. If you have been following Pan moving forward and the things that we have been doing, it is about action. What we're doing right here now is to make sure that when people see the action, they will be very much informed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Of why we going the way that we need to go. I would also like to tell the public and the present executive that after the 31st of October, Pan Trinbago executive would no longer have the power to hold office. Beverly Ramsey Moore and the 6 of them would be ordinary members if there is no election. It would mean that that office and that seat that she's sitting, literal seat, any member of Pan Trinbago would now hold authority to go into that office and sit in that seat. Any member. So we are saying before it reached a position where we reach in a state of chaos, do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
That's correct.
Seek your
All
new
the
mandate.
Yes.
Yeah.
If add to that too, I want you to add to this because I think we spoke to this earlier, that not just only the executive after the 31st, if they intend to continue and be strong-minded on the legal decision, But all those members, misguided as you may have been, blinded as you may have been, bewitched as you have been, as a result of what this present executive has presented to you or forced you to even support. You too, because I'm saying that against the backdrop that the executive is praising themselves or portraying themselves that the decision that they have taken is a decision by these particular bands that have signed this in support of their decision. And we are saying those are the bands that you went to. Those are the bands that you manipulated. Those are the bands that you forced to agree and support your illegal decision. We are saying that there are hundreds of other bands that have not gotten the opportunity to hear even what you wanted to present as what the decision you wanted to take. There are a lot of other bands that didn't get the opportunity to even share or suggest other ways, and therefore we know these bands, we know who they are, and they are members of the same fraternity that didn't get the opportunity to really place on record what their decision or their position is, and therefore we are saying that is illegal. Right, so you are going in to show support via documentation to the public after this live here. By tomorrow you might hear, or Monday you will hear published how many bands supported the decision that they took. We will also share those policings.
Stick up in, Mr.
We have a
Caller.
Yes, hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to Aquil, Mr. Alexander, and Mr. Bach. Mr. Bacher there. I want to just mention.
Caller, you wish to identify yourself?
Oswald Alexander.
Hey, how you doing?
I just want to iterate a couple of points and just reinforce them. One is when Diaz got his extension of time, it was done. Somebody moved a motion. The motion was seconded, and the motion was debated, albeit for a very short while, and the membership voted, and the majority voted for Mr. Diaz to get his extension. So it was not automatic extension that Mr. Diaz got. And he got that extension because the court then, after then, didn't decide on the legal matter where members of New Visionaries had sued Trinbago. So that's one. Two is, in October 2021, for anyone to accuse a member of Trinbago of not knowing to use Zoom because they are 60 years old has to be a very dishonest and listen, man, come on. We invented this instrument. All the different members of the family, of the Pan family, we have double tenor, four pan. We had the brain to do all that. We have a whole bunch of tuners, iconic men who are over 60, who the whole world is doing business with. And he's going to tell all these people that they're 60-year-olds, so they're too stupid to learn, to take 10 minutes to go and learn how to do a Zoom. And you would do that after you had
consultation
Carnival last year. Now, to keep little things to teach you people how to use Zoom, because you so COVID conscious. If you were that COVID conscious, you'd have known that you have to learn new habits. You and all you speaking about the new normal every time you turn up. On the 12th of September, Ms. Ramsey Moore was in a panya together with the Minister of Health with a steel band jumping up in front of steel band. And, you know, I really hate to see this, and Mr. Alexander may have to defend it. But I wonder if that steel band got paid, you know? Because I know quite a few people are making money off
Advertising.
off of this COVID thing, giving support to the Ministry of Health. So I, as a above 60-year-old, I ain't gonna say I'm 99 because I ain't gonna Mr. Alexander to repeat that anyway. but I have been teaching quite a few people to use Zoom and to use thing, and it normally don't take very long. They normally don't take very long. These people are bright people. We have a lot of bright people in fans.
Right.
And like everything else, some of them are not mechanics, so they have to carry the car somewhere else to repair. But don't tell me they can't use Zoom. And you're proud to see that. How long would you keep attacking your membership and selling them short?
Yes.
The last time you did it was the captain of help me, Aquil.
Spree Simon.
Captain of Spree Simon.
Yes.
They say he's a non-band leader.
No,
He's a non-band leader because he
not him
asked
alone.
you for
Yeah,
All men, anybody who need help,
and accept.
who need right. Thank you.
anybody who need help, and
Which
people
is
to
nearly,
come
which is
together.
nearly the whole pan movement.
No,
Yes.
everybody know.
Yeah.
If band leaders didn't need help, why do we have a set of bands that are sponsored?
Why do
Why
we
do
have
we
Pan
have a
Trinbago? Because Pan
sponsored
Trinbago
band
is the body
to
To
that...
make representations for us and
That's
to
right.
assist in building our capacity to move forward.
Right. Why are you having Peloton if you don't need help? You know, we have to understand in the steel band community, the steel band is basically a giver. The steel band is basically more gives than it receives.
That's right.
A steel band is the mother, is the church, is the father, is the cousin. Anybody could run into a steel band yard to get assistance. So why shouldn't a steel band need assistance? Come on, my
Or accept
president,
it
you
when it
cannot
comes.
keep insulting us. You have to do better. I expected better of you, Madam President. And time again, you keep disappointing me. I don't know if you disappoint yourself if after when you make those statements, you go home and really sleep on it and understand what it is you are doing to us. You are doing us harm, Madam President. We are not stupid. You know? And we could go on and on and on. The Constitution is a contract between the members, the executive, and the association. It's a contract we have. So you can just willy-nilly just tear up the contract whenever you feel fit to do so. You cannot be doing that, Madam President.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, for now, that is what I have to say because again, very emotional.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
very much for your
Yes.
contribution.
Mr. Alexander, thank you for calling in.
Thank
He's
you.
also a delegate for a band that won Panorama, Newtones. And Mr. Alexander always admitted that his band and all needs help. And his band would also need the Pan Trinbago to reach out and help him as we go forward with this organization.
You assist and you represent 4 bands so that they can then contribute and add to the communities that they are in.
That's
This
right.
is never a handout, you know.
No.
Culture and the pan movement is not a handout.
No.
It is an investment.
It's an exchange.
Yes.
Is an investment into the human capacity of your nation,
People,
you know.
that's right, that's right.
They can't pay you.
They can't.
Aquil,
There's no rubric that they can use.
Aquil,
yeah.
I visit your panyard once or twice while you doing lessons and classes with those children, and they can't pay you for what you put into those children
Mr. Fuad.
and that community.
Mr. Fuad.
I'm paying you either. Go
If
ahead.
you visited my panyard once or twice, there's 2 more times that the president had visited my panyard since she's in office. and it may sound comical, but moving from the bands and having discussions with the bands, we would have been hearing a lot of those statements as well.
Yeah.
Those testimonies that we haven't seen our president in 3 years. And yes, we could say that
The excuse right here.
yes, we could say that COVID.
Oh, you know that is the excuse.
Yes, we could say that COVID was a downtime.
Those
especially
who
for-
viewing, you all know what is the excuse Ms. Ramsey Moore says and what Aquil is going to repeat as the excuse and what I have to say as her excuse. And she has been repeating
Yeah.
over and over.
But this downtime at COVID, and she said it in the article that it downtime and they did things to strengthen the organization. But in my reality, that is totally not true.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing in this downtime that I have seen that really, other than beyond the politics, beyond the going up in the land and saying that our pantry be grow.
Pretend
and
to do this.
up to now we can't see a corn or okra or nothing to say, well, you understand, beyond those political optics,
Yeah.
we have not seen
Anything.
anything significant from this executive that is continuous and sustainable in terms of the development of the organization as we move forward in the new normal. And even this fact that she's making the statement that our members can use Zoom after a year and change of being
It's
under
an
COVID
indictment
is
on
an
her.
indictment and a representation of what I just said.
Yeah.
That we have not gotten from this executive any sort of forward thinking plan, any sort of training, any sort of anything that would have us stronger as we go forward into the
So individual members of our
the next year.
organization, without the guidance or assistance of Trinbago, have been creating programs online. Like yourself, like Mr. Duvon Stewart,
Yes.
like many others,
Others, that's right.
and presenting to the market of pan
It could be done.
entertainment, knowledge,
Yes,
history,
yes.
so many other things without the direction, the leadership, the assistance
Of punching.
of Trinbago. Just a simple list of the bands that are financial cannot be compiled by Trinbago, and they know that the election is due. They know that this time period would have come.
So
they had no intention.
So again, I'm seeing, and in my article I said that is either 2 things: is either incompetence or dishonesty.
Yeah.
Now, in Miss Ramsey Moore's statement today, in the article, she said that the majority of the bands signed on to this document that they have going around in agreement of the decision that they made. The majority of which bands?
Yeah.
If you don't have a financial list of members,
Yeah, so how you
or if you claim that you don't have a financial list of members, which band you getting to sign this?
That's right.
Because so it would mean that if you don't have, and I'm sure that they do, if you don't have,
So they're dishonest. They're not incompetent.
Ah.
They're dishonest.
if they don't have, who's signing that list?
That's right.
Who you going to? Because they would know who to go to, to
Of
get to
course.
sign. They're not going by any bands that are not financial.
Well, yeah.
They would go by the bands who are financial.
Mm-hmm.
But let me say that they don't have a list and they go into the bands who are not financial. How it is that you could safely say that the majority of bands signed on to this document if you don't have a list of financial members, and you, Fuad, went this week and asked the president for the
Again.
again
Yeah.
for the how much time?
For the second time.
right?
In person.
In person, and
And other times, yeah,
Well,
through representation.
and they claiming they don't have a list, which to me, I'm feeling that is just being dishonest.
But if I'm to support your point, okay.
So it's lie they lying to me?
Not, well, no, hold on.
So it's lie on lie.
Well, which list they, who
Nah,
they targeting
man.
to
But
sign?
when that if we have to put it into perspective again, devil is in the details. The 17th, the decision was taken to postpone, which means, so you, the executive, decide that. And I think how many days after they then decided that they would have bans, they claim that bans,
About 2 days or something.
2 days after.
They have,
and throughout your case, you could probably say, you might be able to say, to share, well, at what point you had called and they said they didn't have financial members. Well, they didn't have the list prepared. And I'm guessing to what you were saying that if
But
it
they're
is
still up to this day stating that they
they,
don't.
right, so they now, well, based on what they are saying, that they have not generated the list.
Yeah, they haven't completed the list.
Right. So you haven't completed the list. So how have you gotten these members? As you saying, how they got these members? Who are these members that signed? Are they?
and how we
How they
verify?
verify.
How are we going to verify who they are, right? And
If they're financial.
if
and
they're
legitimate.
If the financial.
and therefore it comes back to the point of, this is the point I want to make. It comes now to the point that you have selected persons, because I could come to that conclusion. You have gone to certain bands that you feel you can get the support of, manipulate them as the case may be, and if they're not financial, you make them financial, or have them say,
Sign a
okay,
waiver.
you make them financial to support your cause.
Which is very dangerous
Which
is
for
dangerous.
the
Right.
democracy.
It is, and
Because even if they do call the election, because of all this padding,
Right.
this as we thinking or we suspecting padding going on.
good.
In this time, because the deadline date was August 7th.
Right. So it shows you now why it could even, again, people can refer to it as conspiracy theory. I love to be referred to as one of that because I like to get down to the nitties. I could come to the conclusion as to why you probably left out some bands in having a meeting with them. That's why you came to South and only selected certain bands that you will speak to. Because you had your plan and your agenda. And this is just my opinion. This is not even my band's opinion. I'm speaking on behalf of you now. But it is my opinion, personally, that you would had your plan up your sleeve to get these bands, if they're unfinancial, or even if they're financial, to go to them selectively, have them support, and sign this document.
Rubber
And then
stamp.
and then you could come say, hey, I have bands that are agreeing to our decision. But here we are saying there are hundreds of bands out there that have not gotten the opportunity to even hear your decision, know what your decision was, or even give you the authority to make your decision. And we are saying these bands have not gotten the opportunity and it is illegal, and they, on behalf of them, all right, even on behalf of those who signed, as well too,
Yeah.
because we believe that you have been bewitched. We believe that you have been manipulated. So even on behalf of you, now that you are getting this information, now that you are hearing
I could imagine some
yes.
of those bands are displeased.
Revelation.
Now understanding that, listen, at first she was saying it can't have no election and no meetings.
no meetings, yeah.
And we believe that. But now she coming and saying, well, yes, it could happen by Zoom.
But
all
the tool.
all the old and all they don't understand nothing.
And we can't do it in a place because the place book up.
The place book up.
Something else where and you keep saying the devil in the details, because in the letter, the first letter that they sent, they would have stated that the convention could only happen every 3 years. And then in the last paragraph, they say that they would hold the convention, they would hold the election at the next convention.
That's right.
So it would mean that once they miss the date here, their intent
Is to have it at the next election.
is to have it at the next convention,
That's right.
which is the next 3 years.
Uh-huh.
I would like to go to respond to Mr. Ronaldo De Pisa. Good night, Mr. De Pisa. Big arranger from the East. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for asking the question, because they would like to know what are PMF plans for the upcoming election. And we are saying at this point in time, Mr. De Pisa, the president have to call the election.
That's right.
Step one.
I don't know anybody who revealed a manifesto before election is
We
called.
don't know the
So if
election
it don't have an election, so we must say, well, listen, we plan to do this or this is the person we offering, or that is the person we offering. We are saying to you, Mr. Ronaldo de Pisa, call on the president of Pan Trinbago to call the election and let the process begin. There are many other persons other than Pan moving forward who are willing to put themselves to serve. And I too would like to see what they have to offer. I too would like to see what are the background of these people, because we cannot move forward with persons that still want to hold on to the organization and keep it the way that it was according to you back in the days, and this is how it's supposed to happen and in this new normal.
But I would like to say to Mr. D. Pisa, thank you for your interest.
Yes.
As we go forward, what we do want in this election period that is supposed to be here, and we hope that all the parties who are willing to present themselves
That's right,
agree
democracy.
to come onto forums, and discuss the issues and to put forward the plans. I thank you for your question,
Interest, yes.
because it shows that you are interested in what our ideas and our vision and what we have to offer the movement. So it will come in due time, very soon, and I'm saying that when we move forward, as we work and we ensure that this period moves forward, we want everybody to agree to come on platforms open and honest and speak about the issues. We don't want this election to be about who is friend with who and who give who money and who, when they go in office, go handle this one in the east and bail out this band, or make sure this one win whatever competition, or that is not what it is about. So I really want to say, respect and thanks to Mr.
Yes.
De Pisa.
Yes.
You could get involved with us as we go forward.
Stick up in. We have a caller.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Good evening.
Good night. Good night.
All right, this is Mendez again, eh? And I want to get a little clarity from Fuad and something. That is why I call back in, and I want to appreciate, you're entertaining me again, right?
Sure. Welcome, man.
Now, we have a number of people from the central executive approaching bands. And I am fully aware of it because people have called me and told me that Sinful and a group of them approaching bands to sign a petition in support of postponing the elections to indefinite date. Fuad, I want a little bit of advice on this, please.
Sure.
So, no.
Free advice?
You getting it free for this matter. And a lot of the things we do for Pantry, they go free. For the membership,
No, it's for
free.
me. It's not for Pan Trinbago, it's for me.
Yes. No problem.
Fuad, my information is this, and verify it for me, please. That no matter how many people sign the petition,
Correct?
according to Pan Trinbago's constitution, a petition is a petition until it is tabled,
That's right.
debated,
That's
and
right.
passed by a quorum which constitutes more than 60%
Yes.
of the financial membership.
A petition
So tell me
cannot
something.
change the constitutional laws that we have within our organization.
That's right.
It cannot. She could have all the members in
Pan
the
Trinbago.
entirety of Pan
Yes.
Trinbago signing and stating that
They
that
support.
article, we support this and we could breach the constitution. It will not allow her to breach that the constitution.
So
It is
I
illegal.
also I want to I don't know if you will coincide with this. I have also have legal information that all it will take is just one man who is a bona fide
Yes.
financial member
Yes.
challenging the decision of the central executive
Yes.
to postpone illegally this election, and then the matter could go forward. Is that true, sir?
Yes, it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. One band feel disenfranchised.
That's right.
Yes.
And we know we have more than one band that feels that way.
Correct. Correct, Mr. Mendes.
So therefore, Simpson and all of them who calling bands all over Trinidad and Tobago to sign a petition to postpone the election,
Yeah.
it doesn't have any effect until it is debated in a meeting with a quorum of the 60% and passed by a vote. Is
Yeah.
that so, sir?
Correct.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. And we said
Thank
that
you very
before.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
And-
much.
Yeah, and we said that before because the process the process cannot be flouted, right? We must take the process seriously.
I would doubt that any right-thinking members of our organization would allow a president to postpone election just based on their support, based on uh, a petition. That is extremely dangerous. It is already illegal.
Yes.
But if you are going to give up
Give up your
your
right.
your right
To choose.
to choose,
What would stop the next president
what-
from doing that?
Right. And
because it is without reason.
yes.
It is
It
not.
is setting the wrong precedent.
Yeah. But,
It is setting a terrible precedent. It is illegal.
Exactly.
And I would like to say, Mr.
Exactly.
Mendes, the legal action is coming. We're trying our best for good sense to prevail, for this president to be the exception, that when election comes, she respectfully does her utmost best to hold convention and meeting, to present reports to the membership, to be transparent and clear and fair, and allow us to choose whoever we wish to continue as we go forward. That is the example we want set by Miss Beverly Ramsey Moore. Distinguish yourself,
that's right.
Miss Ramsey Moore, as a president who is not bent on holding on to office illegally, someone who is not afraid to face the membership, someone who will do her utmost to ensure that she could reach and talk and meet with all of us, and our will as a membership should be done.
That's what. But for what if I
And
may,
So, Mr. Mendez, thank you very much again for
Yes.
calling in.
definitely. But if I may add
No,
to
I
it,
think that Mr. Mendes wanted to make an next point.
I was just going to say, Aquis, you fully aware that 3 years ago, between CIP and Team Rebuild, those are the principles
Yes,
on
yes.
which we campaigned.
Yes.
Yes.
Those are the principles on which we campaigned. We also promised to review the Constitution
Yes.
within at least 6 months of our
Yes.
sojourn in office.
Yes.
So I was just saying these things for the membership to realize how deceptive this president is.
Yeah.
Her obsession, she's a megalomaniac, obsessed with office.
Yeah.
And you know what's hurting me? One of the things that's hurting me? That the other members of the 7 members of that central executive could sit down and acquiesce
Yeah.
to such tyranny
Yeah.
on the membership of Trinbago, knowing fully well what were our principles and what we campaigned on coming into office. Again, fellas, thank you for giving me this
you're
hearing.
welcome.
Yeah.
I just,
Before we go, the views of the caller is not necessarily the views of the chopping block and the panel.
Right. I just wanted to add to what Fuad actually said there, that, and go a little deeper, that, because I'm glad that Mr. Mendes raised that point to bring clarity to even the deceptive decision or plan that the present executive is going ahead doing. And it has a lot to do, friends, just not only by this executive. I want us to understand too that, and that's why these sessions and these roundtable talks are important for edifying and empowering our membership.
Yeah.
Because I am certain even those persons who have signed that petition or have intentions of signing the petition didn't even know that is in the Constitution, or have an understanding clearly of the Constitution with regards to a petition. Still, at the end of the day, doesn't have the power.
Yeah.
And that even if we're going down the road with the petition, it has to be, as you all highlighted, it has to come back now to the membership and then for a decision to be made then. But it will show clearly, it will show the deception of an executive, and not just only this one, but past executives in the past too, having respect for us, the membership, the body, understanding. And you know why they can do that? You know why? And even in systems within this country and in societies across the world, you have this problem and this spirit right now with regards to leaders and persons in charge doing what they want because they are allowed to, and because they know they have been hoodwinking and bewitching. I keep using these terminology because you're seeing it in society. People are being taken advantage of because of their lack of information.
Yeah.
And you know, scripturally, where they talk about people perish because of a lack of knowledge.
The lack of knowledge.
And these sessions are important that we're sharing with you, and tying it back now to my point I wanted to even make to Mr. DPs. I am glad that you and others like yourself are interested in understanding what it is PMF wants to do. But I think it has to go deeper than that. Not just PMF, what we have to do and what we can do as members of this fraternity to take Pan Trinbago going forward. And when we decide, if we decide whenever now or in the future to place persons in the driver's seat of the institution, they are accountable not to themselves but accountable to us, and we have to hold them to be accountable to us. And that is the power that we need to start to understand from now. And if, friends, I'm a part of this team and I'm sharing my opinion here, that if coming out of this that we are not successful in elections, as the case may be, God forbid, I'm saying if one thing we are going to be happy or should be happy about is the empowerment mentally and the transformation of of the minds of our members in this fraternity to go forward. If that is the only thing that we're going to achieve, it is a step in the right direction for millions of years to come, friends.
I want to speak about PMF, and I want to speak about Aquila Rendell a little bit, and just bring the parallel as to what exists as leadership now in Pan Trinbago. The driver's seat may be occupied by an individual, but there are navigators around.
That's right.
There are people who know the tracks ahead, who have driven that road before. There are people who know all kind of specialist knowledge about how to turn corners and how to do this and do that. That is how our organization, PMF,
That's right.
operates. It is not because Mr. Aquil is behind the steering wheel and he has that last responsibility to turn left, turn right, turn now, turn, that he just does what he wants.
No.
I have to account.
That's right.
He has to account, and he takes into consideration the knowledge and the information
Those
and
that
the
have gone
opinions.
before.
So we understand what we have now, because there are no meetings. Not just convention alone, and AGM, There are no meetings. No effort has been made to bring the membership up to speed.
No, there have been meetings without us.
Yeah. Just the driver going wherever.
Yeah. Because there were some five-a-side meetings, but you wasn't invited, right?
No.
Well,
You wasn't invited,
no,
right?
Your band wasn't invited.
And my band wasn't invited.
You ever went to a meeting with this current president? When you go to a meeting with this current president, if you want to express your view or ask a question, she's standing up in between what you're saying to shout you down and let you know da. All she wants is everybody to agree and go along.
That happened last year.
And clap. Her meeting starts with a 2-hour dissertation on how great she is, and some prayers in between, and all sorts of. I mind the prayers, but I don't know how it do dispel the spirit of deception.
Somewhere it coming from.
I don't know what kind of
Which place
that
are they
praise
at?
needs some power.
Yeah.
But that's what comes forward as, and people who come to the mic come to say, we support you and we like that.
Those people was allowed to talk,
They inundate the mic.
right?
Yes.
The people who agree was allowed to talk, and
For-
the persons who have opposing views
or different views.
or different views are not allowed. And I mean,
It reached an extent where meetings are being convened and those who have
opposing
opposing or different views are not
Are not
invited.
invited.
So again, the power of the membership to understand these things. And people may feel that when we share these things or through these mediums, because it's an election season, we play in politics, or we mudslinging in. But these are the facts, friends.
We have spoken to Miss Ramsey Moore
Correct.
before. We have offered her
We offered her help.
help. We have offered her directive.
That's right.
And we are saying that, listen, what she said, it's been a difficult time in COVID. We have not been able to do much of what we wanted to do. If you cannot lead
In COVID.
in COVID, then why do you want to continue in COVID? If you can't take I heard a young man from BP Renegades, Mr. Greaves, stand up and say, listen, in our bands, what we're doing is we're going online and we're creating teaching and whatever. We have taken the classroom
Yes.
of PAN online. And we're doing that as a band. All you're doing as an institution,
That's
PAN
right.
Trinbago.
That's right. That's right.
And if you sit down as a leader and you listen to your membership and you can't take in the advice and then duplicate it and guide to the extent that you come months after and you have done nothing in terms of technology to raise the standard of the members
Yes.
so that we could have a
I
online
get
meeting.
Right?
I
Or
mean, what are
meeting.
you doing?
Yeah.
And even in the backward, compilation of a list of names, even in the backward, just to get our accounts in order, things that have ordinarily been done and that you had so much downtime in, you can't do basic things that has been done before. So why are you, you're not even begging for a mandate.
No.
You're taking a mandate.
No, but
Why are you taking a next?
But no, but Fuad, if I may say, gentlemen, if my mind serves me well, I believe personally the very country, just not only the Pan fraternity, and you guys.
Let's take up in
Go
it.
ahead.
Guys,
Go ahead.
727, we'll be wrapping up in the next 10 minutes. 727-8203. If you need to call in within the last 10 minutes, call in so we could get your views and so on and so on and so on.
I was making the point that, and I think you all can remember, that when Miss Ramsey Moore got that mandate, so to speak, to be the president, the very cultural fraternity welcomed her.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole thing, woman,
Fuad,
woman.
myself,
Yeah.
everybody will.
I congratulated
saying,
her, yeah.
and I was saying, in terms of how people, the anticipation and the expectation of her coming on the scene and bringing that newness, because she spoke well as to some of the things that she would see to do be done and that kind of thing. And whereas we accept the fact too of what she may have inherited over the years, as the case may be, they alone could say, but we still ain't know some of it. But we're waiting for you to tell us what you inherited.
Waiting for them accounts.
But we are accepting the fact that yes, you may have inherited that. We are still saying here that in all of that, right, even if we had to give you some grace, then we are saying you got the mandate. You got the support. The expectation of the people, just not only within the Pan fraternity, was one that, listen, we're going to give you an opportunity to really flourish. However, unfortunately, COVID came on the scene and avoided you. You didn't have the opportunity, really, as you say in the article, to flourish or some things you wanted to do that you couldn't do, right? What we're saying is that a simple thing of respecting your membership and insulting their intelligence and having that, to building that bond with your membership, you have not been able to establish, and you still want to tell us, for those who are on the social media, particularly bantering that why we don't support her and some fighting her down and give them the support and join them. And we are saying, no, it's not a matter of we fighting anybody. We are saying we are arms out, willing to support, have given you opportunity, have extended the olive branch, have come and offered to you what it is we think we could do, and you have cut them down, persons in the past. We now, because you refer to us as what? Fly by night. Imagine that. We have just offered ourselves to serve this big fraternity that will be here and will be in the future when we move on. And you have referred to us as fly by night, instead of seeking and finding a way as to how you could include and see how best you could mesh. No, but you want us now to say that we fighting you down and persons like yourself supporting that we are doing that. And that's not the case. That's not the case.
I invite Mrs. Ramsey Moore and other individuals on her a team to engage us. Let's speak about the issues. If we have said anything that is untrue, you know, speak with us publicly. Whatever we say, we're willing to come and we take responsibility for what we say openly. I want you to come and say what you have to say, discuss and dialogue with us, because dialogue and discussion seems to be a weak point in her capacity. But it is essential for a leader to be able to build consensus, to listen to differing views, to take ideas. In this short period, Aquil, of, you know, a year where we have been engaging so many people and their ideas of what they want within the movement, there are so many tremendous ideas that exist.
That's right.
And if, you know, even myself, my capacity, my what I might be able to understand and know, if this president utilized just a little of the ideas, like I said, Mr. Greaves and so many other people.
Yes, yes.
You know, Mr. Stewart, so many other, if she only used a little bit and innovated and worked assiduously, we would have been leaps
Far
and bounds
advanced,
ahead
yes.
of where we are now.
That's right.
And respectfully, that is what this is about.
Yeah, that's
That is what PAN moving forward is about. And I would like to say there are some people within that executive who I have a certain level of respect for. And I think they understand that this is not good enough.
Yes.
I know the seat and the paycheck and whatever else may be, you know, appealing to you, but it is not worth the harm and the stagnation of
Bigger picture.
movement. Our movement.
Yes.
You know, I asked Mr. Douglas and I asked Mr. Simpson and I asked some of the younger people, Ms. Pierre and etc. Come on. Y'all know better.
That's right.
Y'all sit with this executive and with this leader. And y'all know that it is not where it should be. Y'all understand that your executive is splintered and broken. Y'all are praying people, a house divided will fall. Let's go back, rebuild. Let's go back. Let us respect each other. Let us give pan men and pan women the respect and allow us the opportunity to chart a way forward. That's what I want to beg. Don't take us to the court. Don't make it that. And you're a loser because what you're doing is wrong.
That's correct.
But let us don't reach there.
Yeah. To be a public embarrassment.
Let we sort out our business.
What you know, I think the comical thing about it, we concern about how much it costs to do a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
But we ain't gonna be concerned about how much it costs to go to
court,
court.
yes.
And they're going to defend their attempt to break our constitution and
Constitution.
hold on to power with our money. And they're going to lose.
You know who's the lawyer?
I don't know who their lawyer is. I don't know who their lawyer is.
Well, that's for our next topic.
Our next topic.
That's for our next topic. Who they choose, who the president choose to represent us again, unconstitutionally. Guys, I would like to say thanks for being here. I'd like to say thanks to the audience for being with us. Again, everything that we say here, we willing to openly debate it with the president or any one of the persons that she would like representing her and her team. But beyond that, the solutions that we have going forward is firstly that we would like that the president at least call us in with your legal team, and we'll come in with our legal team and have a discussion.
You sure? You know, if we do a Zoom, why we don't do a Zoom where our president meets with as many of us who under 60, because apparently or over 60, I think. Now everybody who could come online,
Right.
it will do two things. It will exemplify that pan men and pan women not done see.
That's correct.
And even if we don't know, we have enough sense to get somebody who know to help
help
us.
us,
Don't
yes.
disrespect us like that.
And just say we don't know.
They will have hundreds of people online in this Zoom meeting. The president could speak with us. All, right? We could discuss the issue and we could find a way
Forward.
to go forward.
That's right.
And she will understand that, boy, the time is up. Let we try that.
Yeah.
And I saying to Madam President, if we call this Zoom meeting and only 10, 20, 30 people, delegates come on, right? Then you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's right.
Yeah, but the factual and to the point and as serious as we can get, we are calling for a meeting so we can discuss the way forward. We are calling for this meeting as quickly, even before the weekend is up, as quickly as possible. And if you fail to do so, we would then have to take the other actions that is legal to us at this point in time, right? We hoping on behalf of the membership, right? That was disenfranchised in that decision making, Madam President. As we said, PAN moving forward would not have even or was not even engaging you in any particular way in terms of the public and what we say to people when we go to bands, because as far as we're concerned, you was doing nothing, and we just have things that we doing that were good enough to forward us through into the election and so on and so on. You are now forcing PAN moving forward, and the members of PAN moving forward to make you a focal point coming up to this election. We are saying that we want to refocus back onto the things and the projects that we had, spend our time, money and resource on fixing the pan yards and helping the youths, helping the band leaders get their infrastructure up to scratch, so when it's time and the country open back up that they could practice. We PAN movement moving forward would like to continue on to that and move this distraction away from our movement forward. So, Madam President, get in contact with us, get in contact with the membership so we could avoid this legal matter going forward. Right? Mr. Alexander, any last words?
I just want to say that for our viewing public and listening public today, our members, that our intention is for you, the members, to understand clearly what your role is in your business. And in doing so, you then can ask the right questions, demand the right answers, and understand that we deserve better. We know we have better. We have the potential within this movement, the expertise within this movement. And Puad had made mention with regards to the expertise that we may share or we may express that we have. But even outside of us, and not even looking at us, individuals sitting here this evening, there are so many other young and elders within lengths and breadths of this country, within the PAN movement, that has so much expertise, that if we tap into them, we will see how far our movement and fraternity can go. So the purpose is for edification of this matter, these sessions, for you to understand what has taken place by the executive, what has been done by the executive illegally to your movement, and you, the members, understanding how wrong it was and your involvement that is needed to correct this thing. As an organization, PAN moving forward, concerned about the development of the institution called PAN Trinbago and the PAN fraternity, we are saying we have seen the wrong and we are coming out as that voice. We are coming out as that voice for you in support of the development of of our fraternity, the PAN movement. So I want to say thank you for having me here this evening as well.
For closing words and for the PAN public, band leaders and so on, Fuad is the legal aid for PAN moving forward. He is responsible now for land tenure issues, and if any band having problems with land tenure, they don't have a place, they don't have a home, please contact Mr. Fuad Abubakar. He'll give it his number. Please contact Mr. Fuad Abubakar, and he would assist you on the way forward and give you legal advice and suggestions as to how we could get a home for you as part of the Pan Moving Forward movement.
Yeah. Of course, we have identified from some of our members that that was an essential issue for bands. You know, there are many bands who don't have legal tenure, who have issues with their homes, who don't have a home, but they have the heart for what they are doing. And we're trying to assist as best as possible, representing bands, writing the letters, speaking to the MPs, speaking to the Commissioner for State Lands, speaking to the corporations, right? To ensure that you as a band could contribute to your community and your society. So my number is 687-3823. You know, all I don't want to call names, but the bands already who we have engaged and we are trying to assist, you know, could testify, and we're working assiduously. We could do so much more if we could put the official stamp of Pan Trinbago on it, right? We could do so much more if you assist us to do so much more. We want to say, all those who are listening and watching and want to be part of Pan Moving Forward, the doors ain't closed, it's time to come, right? We are having meetings constantly, Zoom, right? Where new people come in every week and new energy and new ideas, and that's the vibes. That is what we're creating. So shoot Aquila a call or a message or whatever, myself, whoever, you know, working, because it have somebody close to you, a band close to you for sure, involved with Pan Moving Forward already, right? Shoot a call, come on board, work with us, meet with us, tell us what you think is makes sense, what don't make sense, help to guide us and this movement going forward. You're welcome. You're welcome in this Pan Moving Forward. And we're saying that we are going to ensure that the constitutional right that we have is
Your
not
constitutional right.
your constitutional, is not played with by Pan Trinbago, by this executive, for sure.
That's right.
Among other things. So Mr. De Pisa, looking forward to you engaging. Come on board, right?
Yeah. So guys, thank you for being here.
Sure.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing the evening. Everybody else, persons on the live, thank you for being here. Mr. Lua Pierre, thank you for your service for towards having the show and quality that it is streamed in. Guys on the chat that called in and give us contributions on the chat, thank you for engaging us. We look forward to talking with you in person. My number is 727-8203. Reach out and we would check your panyards, we would have the discussion on the way forward, and that is the role of Pan Moving Forward. Again, guys, thank you. Have a blessed one. Stay safe and stay alive.
Finish.
Yeah.
Woi.